This is Rachel Carson. In 1962, she published a book that changed the world. It was called Silent Spring. Silent Spring tells the truth to the general public about the chemical cocktail being released into the environment. Much of the information was already known by scientists, and many scientists had tried to express the need for caution in using the chemicals. However, the information was poorly publicized, leading to most people not knowing the consequences and dangers. Silent Spring was meant to counteract this and educate the population. This required the book to be easy to read and understand instead of a dense scientific report. First, synthetic pesticides were developed in the 1930s. The use and further discovery of pesticides rapidly increased during World War II because they could be used to prevent diseases such as malaria and typhus fever, which are both spread by insects. However, many of these chemicals were also being developed as possible chemical warfare agents that could be used against the enemy. One of these chemicals is called DDT. It was used extensively in powder form to control the disease-carrying insects to no apparent consequence. After the war in 1946, these chemicals were made available to the public in forms for both the home and fields. Pesticides are poisons. At first, everyone believed that they could only affect the unwanted insects and plants, as the amounts being put down were far below the level that could harm other animals or humans. But they were wrong. Toxic chemicals build up in the food chain through a process called biomagnification. Simply put, this means that when one animal eats another animal or plant, it absorbs the chemicals which it then passes on to an even larger animal with an even larger amount. Biomagnification is a major factor in how chemical levels can get to a point that can cause people harm. The effects these chemicals can have on humans, animals, and the environment are disastrous. In humans and animals, they can cause cancers of all kinds, birth defects, infertility, nerve damage, and even death. Pesticides are fat-soluble, which allows the pesticides not to be washed away by rain. In powder form, chemicals such as DDT aren't easily absorbed by the body, but pesticides dissolved in oil quickly became a popular method for spraying. Once the chemicals are dissolved in the oil, it is much easier for the body to absorb. Once in the body, the chemicals build up in the fatty tissues. These built-up chemicals can be passed from a mother to her child while still in the womb. Babies are exposed to these harmful toxins even before they are born. No one knows the full impact of a lifetime exposure to pesticides. However, the price the environment has to pay is even greater. Chemicals disrupt the balance that maintains the health of the ecosystem, and they contaminate fields and streams long after the area was sprayed. Pesticides are found in all water sources, rivers, lakes, and even groundwater. Before the publication of Silent Spring, there was little regulation for the use of pesticides. There were policies controlling the amount put down, but little else was done to control the ever-growing amount of chemicals. No one knew what the long-term effects would be, nor how the pesticides would react with each other or medications. Even so, the use of these pesticides was highly encouraged by the government and the large influential pesticide companies. They all promised that the use of pesticides was good for everyone. One of the few regulations on the production of pesticides was passed in 1947. The Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, FIFRA, allowed the U.S. Department of Agriculture to have the power to require accurate ingredients lists. Rachel Carson was subject to massive amounts of criticism due to Silent Spring. A major contributor to this criticism were the companies producing the pesticides. They did not want people to doubt their products, so they declared that her book was completely unsupported by scientific fact. However, the book did eventually have a major positive effect. On April 22, 1970, the first ever Earth Day took place. 20 million Americans protested for a healthy environment. This movement directly led to the formation of the United States Environmental Protection Agency. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA for short, was formed on December 2, 1970, under President Nixon. The EPA was responsible for the creation of multiple significant acts working to clean up and prevent pollution. Among these are the Clean Air Act of 1970 and the Clean Water Act of 1972. Without these, there would be no sewage treatment plants, and the air would be hard to breathe for smog. Controversy over the use of DDT still continues to this day, even though it has been banned worldwide since 2004. The controversy is caused by the effectiveness of DDT in killing mosquitoes that can carry malaria. The pro-DDT side declares that the lives of the thousands of people that die every year from malaria matter more than the effects DDT has on the environment. The anti-DDT side argues that while these lives are important, future generations are also important. If the world is poisoned for everyone for an untold amount of time, how is it better than the sad loss of the thousands today? As of now, the only still legal use of DDT is as a last resort for completely out of control levels of malaria-carrying mosquitoes. Even though DDT was banned, there are still thousands of chemicals released into the environment every day, polluting it.